How literally do you take the president?
Good morning, Contessa. I actually take him literally. I think that markets have had a tendency to sort of discount a lot of these threats. And I think that watching what happened with Mexico and Canada a couple weeks ago, whereas on again, then off again, reinforces the notion for many observers that this is kind of bluster and he does this to get negotiations. But I really got to say, I think that there's a different set of advisors around the president this time. In the first administration, there are a lot of economic advisors and national security advisors who really advocated for the benefit of trade with allies. And this time around, there's a far more protectionist mentality in this White House. And so I anticipate that there's going to be a continued series of tariffs that come on steel and aluminum, but also additional tariffs as he's threatened on reciprocity and also on Europe coming down the path.
When it comes to steel and aluminum, I mean, steel is often the topic of trade wars. It's something that Americans, because of our long history and industry in steel, feel very strongly about. Is it a safe bet for the president? And how do you think the other countries that supply us with steel and aluminum, which are so necessary in housing, like I mentioned earlier today, we're very focused on the rebuilding efforts post-wildfires in California, post-hurricanes in Florida and North Carolina and Georgia. It makes those rebuilding costs skyrocket.
Yeah, it does. I think it hurts economically significantly. I think the president has used this before because of a national security perspective to say that steel is instrumental to our production of a lot of our defense products. But at the same time, I think that there's no doubt it has an economic consequence. I was encouraged last week, though, to see the president change the position he'd had during the campaign regarding Nippon Steel. And so I think that was a dramatic piece of news that in all the news that's being flooded was kind of lost, because if we're really going to try to confront China, it's important that we partner with our allies like Japan. And instead, if we're basically blocking Japan investing in U.S. steel, then all we're doing is benefiting China. So I think that was one big policy difference that I think runs counter to where the president is on these steel tariffs. But I think to get back to your question, there's no doubt that it has significant economic consequences for the American consumer.